Class is now in session, and we have 30 new shortcuts. Automate your iPhone to send you a text with your weekend plans. Check your favorite baseball team's latest scores, current standings, and upcoming games. I created a master shortcut so you can choose which AI to ask what question. Schedule a Zoom meeting from your shortcut, add it to your calendar, and get the link for the meeting all in one go. And the incredible app Actions by developer Sindre Sorhus, which is totally free by the way, added a bunch of new actions that makes it easy to find points of interest near you, save all the images from a web page, and a ton more. And a lot of the shortcuts I'm sharing today were requested in my shortcuts community and even shared by some of these shortcuts U students. Join over 4,000 people, submit shortcuts you've built, ask for shortcuts help, and if you join the over 1,000 members of the community, you get access to my weekly live streams, which are doing really advanced automation. You can watch every past live stream and download all the shortcuts I share every week. You get priority shortcuts requests. I make sure to reply to everyone. And a newer benefit, you can watch all of my YouTube videos ad-free and without sponsors when you become a member. You can join the community right now by scanning this QR code or visiting shortcut.bot, and appreciate all those who are currently members and support the community there and me as a creator. So let's get into 30 plus new shortcuts. First, I got a request in the community for a weekend briefing. So what this does is get your calendar events for the next 7 days. Be sure to choose what calendars you want here in this first action. Then it only gets days from the next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Then it does use Apple Intelligence with ChatGPT extension to parse that and then puts it in a text message that you could send to yourself or you and a partner. When you run it, it gets those events. You can also automate this to run every morning at a certain time. And then you'll get this text. Here are the tentative weekend plans, review and confirm. I got something on Friday, football game on Saturday. And if there's no events on a day, it will specify that too. Just put the recipients you want here in the bottom action, and this will automatically send. This next one is a variation made by Shortcuts University student DR, which in a past video, someone didn't believe me that these people exist. So here's the actual assignment in the circle space, and here's DR who sent me the shortcut. But you can choose to get events in however many days, or you can just choose to have the start date is today and have this kind of a morning text. Choose what calendars you might want to pull events from. And then this also gets the current weather, goes through Apple Intelligence to do a little summary, and then sends it as a text. You can also do a show content or even show notification. And now we have the events for today and the weather for today all in a nice text. Next, this is one I use often if you want to frame multiple screenshots at a time and then save them as files, maybe to use in like a keynote presentation. This is going to use the third-party app Shareshot, and it's going to give you the option to either save and frame screenshots with a transparent background or gradient. I'm actually going to jump over to my Mac to show you how it works, and I have a couple more that I'll be doing this with. But over here, I have some raw screenshots that I took on my iPhone. These are just the unframed screenshots. And so when I run this shortcut, it gives me the option to choose transparent or gradient. I'll go with transparent. And for this one, it's not looking at your photo library. It's actually allowing me to choose files because I run this more on my Mac. And I can choose all 4 of those screenshots at once, and it's going to frame each one and then save them to my desktop folder. Click Always Allow, and then you'll see here in the Finder on the left, those 4 screenshots just appeared, and now I have them framed right here on my Mac. I can use them on slides or just share the frame screenshot. And by the way, you can watch my tech podcast, Primary Technology, now in Apple Podcasts. Video is available there, and we're back to being a 5-star podcast. You can also run the same shortcut and instead choose gradient. And this time, when you select those unframed images or screenshots, you can actually choose what gradient from Shareshot you want to use. For this one, I'll choose the vibrant gradient. When I click that, it's going to make each one a square image, put that gradient behind the framed screenshot, and now I have these nice looking screenshots with the gradient behind it. So one shortcut, you can get transparent or gradient backgrounds on your screenshots. Now this next one is actually making use of one of the new actions in the Actions app. Again, this app is totally free. I'll put a link to that down in the video description. But he added a bunch of new actions, one of them being make live photo from a video. So what this shortcut does is it lets you find any videos in your photo library that are also marked as a favorite. You can change those qualifications here, choose one, it encodes the file and gives it to this action. And then it creates a live photo based on whatever keyframe time you put here. I put 3 seconds because I want it to be a little farther into the video. And why would you want to make a live photo from a video? Well, I'll show you in a second. Let me choose one of the video files I have here. It's going to encode it and then save it as a live photo back into my photo library. So if I go to my photos, you'll see here the last image that was saved, it's now a live photo, not a video. And because it's a live photo, I can actually add this as a lock screen that actually has motion. So I'll tap Add. This time I'll choose Photos. I'm going to choose that live photo that I just made with the shortcut. Apparently it doesn't work on slow motion videos, so I had to find another one. But now if I enable that live photo feature, I have my son here. I can add this as a lock screen. And now when I wake my iPhone screen, I get that little motion from the live photo before I unlock it. Next, I've made shortcuts in the past that will identify long videos for you to delete them, but Reddit user Frozen Maze actually developed this one. It's going to ask for how many minute duration you want to look for videos. It will find all photos in your library with that, count those items, and then create a photo album with all those videos. So if I run this, I can say how many minutes, I'll say 10. It's going to go through your whole photo library. Might take a little while, but you'll see it saved 57 videos to the 10+ minute videos album. I'll tap OK. And now if I go back to my Photos app, let me go down to Albums, and you'll see here at the bottom the 10+ minute videos, and they're all right here, including my very first YouTube video, which I did screen time. Yeah, I recorded that in 2020. And now I can choose whether to keep these, delete these, or do something else. Truly excellent shortcut. Shout out to Frozen Maze on Reddit. Next, I've created shortcuts for requesting Gemini, ChatGPT, and different AIs, but people were asking for one shortcut that does it all. So when you run this shortcut, it will ask for a prompt, and then you can choose what AI you want to send it to. Now you do need to have an API key for every service. So you need to put your OpenAI or ChatGPT API key here. For Gemini, you would put that API key here, so on and so forth, for Perplexity and then Claude. But once you do that, you can run it and choose whatever AI you want. Now, if you want to see what all of the AIs have to say about your request, I'm also going to put a AI compare all responses shortcut. When you run this, you can ask it something like, what's the average rainfall in the Amazon basin? And now it's going to go through all 4 of those AIs, send that same prompt to each one, combine all those responses, and then show it to me here. And now we see in our show content the ChatGPT response, 80 to 20 inches per year. The Gemini response, about 90 inches, so similar. Perplexity gave us an even wider range, 59 to 118. And Claude gave us 80 to 120. So now you can get a response from all 4 AIs at once. Now it's baseball season, so I have several shortcuts for the MLB, seeing your current team standings, latest game scores, and future schedule. But the way I keep score of my own kids' sports games is with the great app Tally, today's sponsor. Made by Agile Tortoise, this is a great app for either counting down, counting up, keeping track of scores, and maybe you even have countdowns for things like your newsletter launch or how many days you read a book. And one of the things I love about the Tally app is you can actually activate a live activity. So when my son is playing a football game, I could tap the 3 dots, do Start Live Activity, and now on my lock screen, I'll actually have the Tally app right there the whole time, and this is interactive. So if my son scores, I can literally tap this and add points right from my lock screen without even opening the app. And because it's a live activity, it's also here in the dynamic island. Tap and hold, and I have it there, or I can go back to the actual Tally app and then stop the live activity as well. And just like the app drafts, Tally has great shortcuts actions available. Here you can find certain tallies, get events, you can automatically add to certain tallies, open it. I mean, just look at all these actions. You can pin a set, duplicate, create a new one, and a ton more. Tally also has great widgets if you want to put it on the home screen or the Today view. You can do the medium size or large size widgets or even small widgets. Once you add one, you can tap it and then choose which tally you want to do. I'll choose Asher's team here. You can choose the theme, background, and even the home screen widget is still interactive. You get plus and minuses right there. Tally also has a great Apple Watch app. So here I have a special list called Watch Tallies, and you'll see it's syncing the workouts one. And if I add one here on the Apple Watch, you'll see it's syncing right there on the iPhone as well. So scan this QR code or click the link down in the video description and you can get Tally right now. And with my promo code, 50% off your first year. That's full pro version of Tally for just $5 the entire year. Whether you're habit tracking, scorekeeping, or taking attendance in your class, Tally is a great app with those live activities, great shortcuts actions, and more. So scan here, 50% off your first year, just $5. My thanks to Tally for sponsoring this video. And speaking of keeping score, it's MLB season, so if you're into baseball or really any sport, I have a couple shortcuts for you. This first one is called MLB Update. Now, you can choose your team here. I have the full list of teams with the exact names that need to be input, and then in this first text block, put your team name with no space at the end. Here I put the Yankees. Then when you run this, it's actually going to use Apple Intelligence and the free MLB API to pull a summary of the past games, schedule, and even standings. And then you'll see this in the little show content window. You can see the last games, Yankees won 7-0, the upcoming schedule, what dates those games are on, whether they're home or away. And you can even see that team's current standings. You can also do a choose from menu if you want to choose multiple teams, but just put your favorite team's name here. Then you can even automate that to send you a text in the morning. Or if you just want a more simple shortcut to see your favorite team's upcoming games, this next one actually uses the Apple Sports action. Choose your favorite teams right here. I have the White Sox chosen because that's my friend Nate's favorite team. and it will show you all the games with the date and time, plus who they're playing in the next week. Next, this one was made by Liz M in the community, and just to show you, here's Liz M in the community for Shortcuts University. That's her there. Also going to share one from Jamie in a second. Her dad is always asking her if the Reds won their last game, so she actually built this shortcut based on the SportsDB API, which is a free API. You don't need a key, you can just run the shortcut out of the box, and it will tell you who they played and what they scored in the last game. Next, I've had requests over the years for being able to create Zoom meetings, get the link, all from shortcuts, and you can do it. So I built this out. You're going to need some information from your Zoom account. So if you scroll down here in the shortcut, you'll see you need your client ID and client secret. You need to put those in the text field below, separated by a colon, and you also need your Zoom account ID. In order to get those numbers, you have to go to marketplace.zoom.us, log in with your Zoom account, and then go up to Develop here in the top right and click Build App. Here, choose the server-to-server OAuth app, click Create, and then name this anything like Shortcuts. And here's where you'll get your account ID, and client secret. Copy these and take note of them. You do have to go through the continue and do the whole process of naming your app, giving it your name and email as the developer, and make sure everything's filled out, and then publish your app at the end. You need to do that in order for the shortcut to work. Then once you take those numbers and put them into the shortcut, you can run this. Here's a version where all my information is actually in the shortcut. Title it, and this will also be the calendar event title. We'll call this Shortcuts Video. You choose the date and time. We'll say Monday at 11:25. Done. Make sure you tap Allow, Allow again, and it's going to copy the meeting event link to your clipboard, and it's also going to create a calendar event. It's going to show the compose sheet. There's the event title, the link to the Zoom meeting, the date, and you can tap the blue check and add it to your calendar. Plus, if you want to text this link to somebody, you can just paste anywhere because it's on your clipboard. Maybe send that in Slack or in an email. And if you want, you can even add to this shortcut to maybe send all that info in an email to your team. And you could automate this by inputting dates either from a schedule or calendar and create multiple meetings all at once. Link to that shortcut and all the ones I talked about today are down in the description. Next, someone wanted to be able to print their tasks for the day because they like that tactile response of actually checking it off, like with a pen or pencil. So this shortcut actually creates a PDF with the reminders you have due today, and you can then print it out or save it. Try to make the text as large as possible. There's a little heading for tasks for today, and now you can literally print out your reminders in an 8.5 by 11 sheet. Next, the Oscars were a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to see if I can create a shortcut that pulled the winners in real time. This uses Apple Intelligence and ChatGPT, and when you run it, it just tells you who won the latest Oscars. And it still works, so if you want to run it even today and see who won what, it's all right there. Next, if you update it to iOS 26.4, there's actually a new shortcuts action, which is set charge limit. You can actually set the charge limit all the way down to 80% if you really want to protect battery health. But I made this shortcut, which you can use in an automation, maybe run it every day at 6 p.m. Then you can do something like if your phone or you are currently in your home city, set the charge limit to 80%. Otherwise, if you're away from home, like when you're traveling, you might want to charge to 100% so you have full battery. It'll set that charge limit to 100%. Have this automated to run every day at a certain time, and if you're home, it'll be 80%. If you're traveling, it'll charge to 100%. This next one is using one of the new actions from the Actions app. This is the Get Devices Extended, which allows you to pull your device's current storage capacity, both the total storage and the available storage. So I used that action with a bunch of other built-in actions like getting your Wi-Fi network, IP address, and device name, and this is going to create a device report. When you run it, you should see it pretty quickly. It's going to tell you your available storage in gigabytes, the current network right here, and even the Wi-Fi standard of your currently connected network. You can choose local IP or public IP for this device, the current uptime for your device, the last time it restarted or shut down, and how many processors are active right now. And you can run that on any of your devices. Next, this was a request from the community. They wanted to pull news about the Pittsburgh Steelers from several news sources. We've had different variations of this in the past. You can swap out these RSS feeds in the first two actions right here, and it's going to get the last 10 items from both those feeds, use Apple Intelligence to kind of customize it, and then create a note with all the combined text. You actually get to choose what news stories you want to read more about, so we'll choose the top 3, tap Done. It's actually going to summarize the article, so the Apple Note will have a summary with a link back to the full article if you want to read it in its entirety. And now created the new note. Here's the title of the article, here's the summary, and a link back to the article if we want to read the full thing. And remember, you can change what this shortcut pulls, just change the title and the RSS feeds up here. even add more RSS feeds and just add it to the same variable called articles, and you can have your own news summarizer every day. This next shortcut was from Shortcuts U student S. Griffin, and it's Tell Me a Joke. You don't need any kind of API key. You can choose what kind of joke you would want, like programming, dark, pun. I'm always down for a good pun, and then it will tell you a joke. I just got fired from my job at the keyboard factory. They told me I wasn't putting in enough shifts. I'll admit, that's punny. So there you go. Great work on that one. Tell me a joke short. Oh, and I forgot, it actually laughs after the joke is shown. This next one was made by Jamie, a rock star in the community helping lots of people. She made a golden hour shortcut, but more than just getting golden hour and telling you the time, she actually went in and got the weather conditions, including things like visibility, temperature, and then added a bunch of if statements. So if it's raining, it'll let you know that, if it's storming, or even if visibility is going to be obstructed. So when you run it, gets your current location and tells you conditions are decent but not ideal for golden hour and how many minutes you have to decide. I'm recording pretty early in the day, so I got a while before I have to decide. Great idea for a shortcut. You can run that right out of the box. Lastly, I don't know if I've ever put it in a video, but if you order from Starbucks, Starbucks actually has a pretty great action here. You can actually choose from one of your past orders. So when you add the action here from the Starbucks app, you can tap order and it will show you some of your past orders. But you can choose one of the orders, however many things it is, then choose what store you want to order from, or you can have both of these actions just ask each time. So this one shortcut, you can have it run even from the action button. You can choose one of your orders in real time, then you can choose what store you want to order from, and then it will just send that order to the Starbucks right here from the shortcut. It's actually a pretty great shortcuts action, and if you search for the Starbucks app, they also have things like open the Starbucks, find a store, find an order, but that order ahead action, really powerful. Next, Steve in the community wanted to be able to set his VPN and then quickly see what Wi-Fi networks were available, like if he was in public Wi-Fi area, and then tap one to choose. Well, for this first action, just choose a VPN you might have set up on your phone, like ExpressVPN or Nord. This will automatically connect to that VPN and then open the Wi-Fi settings. So I'll choose ExpressVPN right here. And when I run this shortcut, the VPN will turn on and it'll send me over to the Wi-Fi settings. You see the VPN turned on up there in the status bar. I can see all the Wi-Fi networks near me and then choose the one I want to pick. Minas Tirith is my home Wi-Fi. And you can also create another shortcut or even choose to toggle. But real quick, I'll have it disconnect from that VPN and then you should see it disconnect over here in the status bar. Next, a viewer saw my video on Claude Cowork, which I'll link above, and he wanted to be able to take action on his things to-dos, but Claude Cowork can't really talk to things just yet. So what this shortcut does is actually finds any items in your Things app that are due today or is in your inbox, and then it will parse this out in a text and then create a text file on your desktop that then Claude Cowork can interact with and see your things. So then when I tap OK, you'll see all my tasks here from Things, any deadline and date if applicable, and Claude Cowork can then take action on that. Now, for the rest of this video, these are all actions from the third-party app Actions. Again, it is a free app to download. Link is down in the video description, and some of these new actions are really powerful. This first one is called Points of Interest. Before, you might have to add multiple actions for things like Apple Maps, but now with this new Actions action, a choose from menu action and then opening it in Apple Maps, I can search for anything near me and sort it by ranking. So I'll search for coffee, tap done. It'll show me all the coffee places within a 5-mile radius, and then I can tap one. This one is highly rated, and it'll open it in Apple Maps directly, and I can get directions to it. You can change the mile radius. You can also change whether it's your current location, and instead of ranking, you can also choose distance. This way it'll show you the closest one first. But I can also search for a type of food. It'll find places near me really fast, impressively fast. Minerva we order from pretty often, and that will open the location in Apple Maps that quickly. Now, if you want to use this with Apple Maps or Google Maps, Old Granny in the community, that is literally her name in the community, I'm not making that up. There she is, right there. She actually took it and turned it and used one of the other new actions, which is ask for input with a dialog box, and then you can open a location either in Apple Maps or Google Maps. When you search, it actually goes to the Actions app temporarily. I can still put in a search term and then choose whether I want Apple or Google Maps. These are actually nice little buttons. I'll tap Google Maps, and then it'll go back to the shortcut, finish running, show me the different places near me, and then opens that address in Google Maps. So now one shortcut, you can open it in Apple or Google, whichever you would like. Awesome work on that. Next, save images from Webpage. Previously, you might have to get image URLs from an HTML or have a few actions to do this, but now this action just straight up gets images from a web page, either from the share sheet, or I made it so if there's a URL in your clipboard, it'll do that. You can choose from all the images, and then it's going to show them in a quick look, or you can have it saved to your photo library or saved to your files. Let's go to an Apple Newsroom article like the AirPods Max 2. I'll tap and hold on the address bar and then share. And now I can go down and find my shortcut, save images from Webpage Easy. That's using the new Actions action. And then I should get a choose from list with all the photos on the page. Here they are. I can choose a photo, and then it's going to show it to me in quick look. But again, I can change that to save to my photo library, save to files, whatever I'd like. Really powerful action there for pulling images from a web page. Another really cool action is get map image of location. So here you can actually choose a business, your current location, or any address. I chose Harry's Seafood here as the location. You can choose how big you want the map to be, like a 10-mile radius, or just maybe a 5-mile radius. And then it's going to leave the shortcut just for a moment, generate the image, and then come back. And now we have a nice little Apple Maps image with the location pinned in red. And there are a bunch of options here if you expand the action, how big you want the image to be, whether you want to show the place mark, and the map type. Maybe you want satellite, hybrid. If you want the hybrid flyover, let's do that and actually choose a landmark. Let's go with the Statue of Liberty in New York. And instead of a 5-mile radius, let's just do a 0.5. And if I run this, it'll go over to the Actions app, generate the image. And now we have the hybrid flyover view of the Statue of Liberty. Pretty cool. Next, they have an action for combining audio or video files. So here you can select 2 audio files. I'll go to Primary Tech Daily. That's a benefit for paying members who support the Primary Technology Podcast, my weekly TED podcast with Jason A10, QR code here. And we just announced a promo code for half off all the subscriber benefits forever. That's $25 a year or $2.50 a month. So scan the QR code, it'll auto load the promo code, subscribe in your podcast player of choice. But here I'll choose 2 audio files. These are usually about 3 or 4 minutes long. It actually just combines those audio files. And here I have it showing in a quick look, but then you can resave that file instead. And now we have an almost 9-minute file, a quick combining audio or video file action. One action I actually use in an automation, this isn't new, but so you know, is audio playing is a great action, and it's not built in. You need a third-party app like Actions. It'll say whether audio is playing, yes or no. And I set this up in an automation. I have mine set up in an automation right here. And what this does is whenever I open a social media app like TikTok or Instagram, I want the volume to go to 0. But if audio is already playing, like I'm listening to a podcast probably in headphones, I don't want it to turn down the volume. So this shortcut checks, is audio playing? And if the answer is yes, it doesn't do anything. But if the answer is no, meaning I didn't already have audio playing, it's going to set my phone volume to 0%. This way it mutes the social media apps. That's another great action in the Actions app. Last few here, this one is kind of a niche use case, but if you run automations multiple times in a row, this is actually a locking method where if you add the lock action and then an if statement, and it kind of has to look just like this, it won't allow the shortcut to run on other devices synced with iCloud at the same time. I have a couple shortcuts that have a habit to duplicate run for some reason, and so this lock action has been really useful. If you have questions on how to use that, let me know. You can also get dates in range. This is great. You can actually get weekends, weekdays, or just get all the dates for a specific day of the week, like just all the Thursdays between your current date and whatever future date, and then you can just see all those dates in a row. This provides a list output. These are all the weekend dates for the next month. Also, the Actions app allows you to save things like API keys you might want to use across multiple apps, and it syncs via iCloud to all your devices that have the Actions app installed. If you go to the Actions app, you'll see here the global variables section. And if you go there, I'll have to blur all this out, but I've saved all my AI API keys like Anthropic and Gemini. So now I don't have to put them in shortcuts directly. I can just use the Get Actions app. Then you can use this action, Get Global Text Variable. I can tap where it says key, and it shows me all the keys that I have saved in the Actions app. Then I can choose Anthropic or another API key, and then I can use the output of that action in something like Get Contents of URL, and then it's actually going to just put my key where it needs to go. This is going to make building with APIs way easier. Great action. All right, last few. Here's an action for formatting ordinal number. So if you wanted to have it say like 26th, 27th, well, ordinal number can do that, something that you can't do with the built-in actions for calendars and events. Also, if you wanted to get image URLs from a web page rather than just the straight images, there's an action for that as well. It's the Get Images URL, and here you have a lot of qualifications like how big the image is to get, ignore the others, whether to include background, meta, or poster images, and a ton more. So you can get the raw images or you can get image URLs, both with 2 of his new actions. Next, there's a generate emojis action, which it actually just gets regular emojis, but you can type them in quickly. So maybe you want to just tell a story in emoji. I'll give it 3 different words. It'll search all the emojis for those search terms, put them all in a row. Actually gives me multiple options. I can choose one and then just puts it on my clipboard. And those were just a few of the new actions. Here's the full list that was posted on Mastodon. I'll link this post down in the video description, along with links to all the shortcuts, the Actions app. And remember, you can support this channel and get lots of benefits in the community by going to shortcut.bot or scanning this QR code. Or if you want to listen to Primary Technology or watch my tech podcast with Jason A10, even in Apple Podcasts, I'll put a QR code here that you can scan. And if you want to support the show, get chapters, chapter artwork, the unedited feed, the Primary Tech Daily, bonus episodes, and a ton more. We lowered that member price to $25 a year or $2.50 a month. If you scan this QR code or click the link down below, it actually auto-applies that promo code and you can subscribe down there. Thank you so much for watching and engaging, joining the community. Of course, subscribe to the channel and hit that like button if you haven't already. And I'll leave a couple videos up here, my last shortcuts video and maybe a Claude Cowork video if you want to learn how to use that with some other automation techniques. Thanks again. I'll catch you next time.